The T-62 is proof that the Soviets are trying way too hard to make tanks that can do everything. The following phrase perfectly describes this machine. It is a jack of all vodkas, but forgets the fucking combat. In other words, it can do a little bit of everything, but it sucks at them all harder than a Brazos mini-series. This tank is equipped with a 115mm crossbow that shoots vodka-infused bolts at the speed of light and cheat FS with more penetration than the fucking Sheridan. So what's the reason for playing this tank? There isn't one. Other than those people who feel they have to play it because they spent half their life savings getting through the last 400 T-54s and T-44s. The worst part about this tank is the reload. Oh sweet linen, the reload. With a top of the line ace crew, it only brings the reload down to about 12.5 seconds. Shit. Which I'm pretty sure Stalin could have gone through with another set of purges before the reload on this thing is completed. This means that if you fuck up your shot, expect to be gangbanged by about 40 leopards. Regardless, let's get on with the review. Forward mobility wise, it's better than average with a top speed of 50 km an hour. On soft terrain it will reach around 37 km an hour without much difficulty and is fairly mobile in general. The hull traverse while stationary, however, is quite mediocre due to lack of neutral steering, so if the enemy flanks you, then you might as well bend over and kiss your ass goodbye. The reverse speed is also pretty terrible as well, meaning that trying to pull back from around a corner after taking a shot is nearly impossible, and the enemy will get at least one shot at you as you pull back. So overall the mobility is NKVD out of 10. As far as armor goes, it's almost exactly the same as the T-54, 49 and 51. Your upper plate is only 100mm thick, and even when sloped back, that only brings it to around 180mm of armor. The side of the hull is 80 and is perfectly flat, with the ass being almost completely useless at 45. The front of the turret will range anywhere from 240 to 200mm thick, so your turret is quite strong overall. However, your lack of effective hull armor means that enemy tanks firing hesh at you are going to have a fucking field day, meaning that getting heshed is quite common for this vehicle. Also, the heat FS spam from the Leopards and M60s will kill you without much trouble either. And while finding held down positions is easier than the T-54, your gun depression is still only 6 degrees, which is still really shitty compared to everyone else at your tier. So the mobility is men and the armor is men. How is the gun? The 115mm crossbow is an all-around good gun with one major flaw. The reload on it makes it borderline useless without an ace crew to man it, and even with that I'm pretty sure that a Leopard 1 with a dead loader still fires faster than a T-62. Regardless, one of the main selling points of this tank is that it's the only tank in the game with armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot. It gets this ammunition stock, however the stock 3BM4 crossbow bolts are really terrible when compared to everyone else's stock ammo from other nations. With a maximum penetration of 291mm at 100 meters against flat armor, it can't even penetrate a T-95 from the front when stock. And since it is solid shot, you are dependent on hitting ammo racks to one-shot capitalist pigs. Things get a little better with the upgraded 3BM3 Bodkin arrows with 350mm of penetration at 100 meters. However, it's still the same story of aiming for ammo racks and hoping you one-shot the enemy cause. If you don't, you will generally die. The final ammo type you can unlock is the 3BK4 Cheat FS round with 440mm of penetration at all ranges, which means this round has more penetration than the Sheridan's Shillelagh 80GM. However, the two trade-offs you make is that this ammo costs 1200 credits a shot and has a muzzle velocity of 950 meters per second, whereas your vodka-infused crossbow bolts have a muzzle velocity of the speed of fucking light. So aiming with the Heat FS round will take some adjustment, but I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that you kill or fuck up the enemy with your first shot, because you cannot trade shots at close range with Leopards and M60s. You will lose, and you will lose badly. As for crew skills, your number one priority is to make sure that your weapon reloading and leadership skills are maximumed out. Then focus on tank driving, field repair, targeting and range finding. As for modifications, get parts, turret drive, FPE, 3BM3 Bodkin arrows, the ability to recruit peasants, elevation mechanism, and 3BK4 Cheat FS rounds. Everything else is secondary. As for how you play the T-62, it excels in wolf packs. Gather some friends and squad up, because the only way you are going to remain successful on a consistent basis with this tank is if there are 2 to 4 T-62s firing at the enemy. Stick together and focus your fire on single targets. This also gives you the option of tanking hits for your allies, so that they can roll out and take shots at the enemy while they reload. If this is not an option for you, and you have no friends, I cannot recommend the T-62 for someone who likes to lone wolf carry like myself. It can't flank as well as the Leopard, it can't snipe as well as the Chieftain or ATGM vehicles, and it can't brawl like an M60. So overall on its own it's pretty mediocre when compared to even 7.0 vehicles like the Centurion Mark X, which despite lacking heat FS, is still more than capable of killing a T-62 with a single hesh round to the frontal plate. This vehicle requires teamwork and calculated play to make it not suck. Try using your good forward mobility to find positions where you aren't expected and aim for critical hits and ammo racks on your opponents. If you don't like thinking when you play, go drive a T10 or an ID1. So there you have it, the T-62. Now get out there and wolf pack the fuck out of the Leopard spam.